I made time to time, just like what I did just now, randomly approach some of you at various tables to ask, to share some thoughts, some views about your organization, what you're doing. Okay, communicating result. Who do we communicate our result with? Right? All of you. Donors, employees, your client or beneficiaries, your stakeholders, your board members. These are all the people that you need to communicate your result with. The good work that you are doing. And one of the challenges that we need to do is to communicate our result with wow. Because let's say if you are applying for a grant and I am the funder, you will not be the first person in front of me. I would have listened to hundreds and hundreds of them. Who knows, by the time you come at 3 o'clock, I have already listened to 50 people apply for grant. I was like, okay, one more, okay, this person bring mushroom, okay, this one apple, okay, this one garlic. You need to have a wow. That's one of the challenges. How do you tell your stakeholders, your donors, like communicate with wow, that even if I have been listening to 50 organizations, when you turn up, I say, there's an idea there. So this is what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about storytelling. This is slightly different from talking about quantitative data. Storytelling. What is storytelling? What really is storytelling? As old as we are. This picture is a painting and a cave that was done 32,000 years ago. So you see, we have been telling stories for thousands and thousands of years. We tell stories under the tree, around the fire, in circles, with the elders, with the village elders, right? We've been telling stories. In fact, can we raise hand? Who here do not remember the story, a Nepalese folk story of the honest X-Men, the honest man and the X? You know this? Okay, who knows the stories of it's a Nepali stories, the honest man with the X? Do you know, how do you say it in Nepali? Okay, wait. Let me say. What's the story? Okay, you heard the story, right? The honest X-Men. Yes. Okay, who here do not know about the story about the honest X-Men? Please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3. The rest of you know. You see? And when was the last time? I'm going to ask, when was the last time someone told you this story about the honest X-Men? I'm going to ask here. When was the last time you heard this story? The honest X-Men. You don't know the story? Okay. I'll ask somebody who knows. Okay, when was the last time you heard this story? When was the last time you heard this story?
In the early time.
Early time, primary school. Primary school. How many years ago was that? More than 20 years ago. 14. Okay. See? Our gentleman here heard the story 40 years ago in primary school. But you still can remember the story. Because we remember stories. When I read about the story of Honest X-Men, I can remember it. I said, wow. You know, about the man who threw the axe, or the axe dropped into the river, and then God eventually gave him the golden axe and the silver axe. I'm like, wow. So we remember stories, the information in stories, very much better than we remember data. Now, if I ask you, can you remember the data that Jasmine presented this morning, how many percent of urban women are working? Can we remember the 100%? Show of hands, anybody can remember? Ron?
75%.
Urban woman, not the whole Nepal, but urban woman.
15.
Okay, because this is this morning, huh? So, but not all of you raised the hand. You see, if this was presented 2 or 3 months ago, we don't remember data so much. But the honest X-Men, 40 years ago, you can remember because stories are just that. We remember stories better. So, we talk about stories all the time. Just now, our lunch, movie, TV, all stories about, I don't know whether you see Bollywood here, Shah Rukh Khan, Sangam. There's this story I watched, Sangam. It's an old Hindi movie made in 1950s with Raj Khanna. I can still remember Sangam. I watched it many years ago, Bobby, you know, Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum. You know, we all remember stories, right? Maybe my pronunciation is not right, huh? You see, you're laughing at my pronunciation.
No, it's just because you remember, that's why.
Oh, I remember Sangam as well. Sangam was made in 1950.
I remember Bobby also.
Bobby, I also remember Bobby. Running the shoe, you know, one size, different size, and running at the track, on the train. Yeah. You know, I also remember Bobby. So we remember. So stories are like that. We share stories all the time. We also think in stories. We also think, not just in stories, we often think in images as well. You know, just now, when he mentioned Bobby, the first thing that came into my mind was that guy, he's one of the couple, Rishi Kapoor. I remember Rishi Kapoor, you know, I remember the railway track. When Sangam, I remember the pilot, you know, 2 men like 1 girl. So I remember. So we all think in images, right? So when I say Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum, I remember Shah Rukh Khan dancing, smiling with dimple on his face, right? So we all think in images. The minute we say the word, we think in images. So that's what stories are all about. You know, stories connect our emotion. We think about, you know, it brings us emotion, like the honest X-Men. We think like, wow, so honest, so good, you know. God give him a golden X eventually, right? It's also been scientifically proven that our brain are wired to to remember stories. Okay, this is just a little bit of science. Just a little bit. After this, no more. You know, when we watch something that really warms our heart, when we hear a story like Honest X-Men or some video that, wow, touching, so touching. You know, our brain produces this enzyme called oxytocin. And what oxytocin does, when you produce this enzyme, it makes us feel more motivated to cooperate, to collaborate. It also makes us more motivated to donate. So it is scientifically proven. You can read the articles, it appears in New York Times maybe about 2 months ago, by this, he's a scientist. It appears in Harvard Business Review and also appears in New York Times. So it's proven that when there's more oxytocin, we're just more willing to cooperate. So when you have a story that's heartwarming, people are more willing to cooperate, to donate. It makes us feel more empathy. Let me just move to the next point. What you can do as an NGO is to write a story about your program, your organization, the work that you do, but do it in a storyline. When you do it like a story, like the Honest X-Men, you must show a struggle. Like the Honest X-Men, right? He was holding the X dropped into the river, then he cried. Then God said, okay, poor thing, why, what happened? You know, your X dropped, okay, is this your X? Give you the golden X. Is this your X? He says, no. He silver X. So there is a struggle, because he cried, but there was a struggle. So you need, when you write stories about your organization, there must be some struggle and triumph. There must be some struggle. So what makes a good story? This is what you as an NGO need to do. This is a script of your organization. This should be the script of your program. You write, it has to be a setup. The setup could be, some of you are working with, I think, National Youth, Nepal Youth Organization. But no, you're split, I cannot find you. The one over there, what's the other one? What's it? Oh, there! You're right, you are working with girls who have been rescued from slavery. So you set it up. There is a setting. Then there must be a hero. All story, either hero or villain. You must have a hero or villain. The villain could be whoever, the trafficker. The hero could be maybe the teacher, the student, her friends. Then, the hero would be the girl. In this case, the story about the girl who has been trafficked into slavery. She will be the hero. Then she came out, she's faced with a problem. She is working in slavery. She is in slavery. Right? So you have the struggle, young girl, no school, no health is very poor, no access to education, so it's struggle. So there must be a climax. What would be the climax? The climax, it could be really some pain, she's crying, And then the solution is the intervention, your program. She goes to school, she's educated, she's raised awareness, she's got increased self-confidence, and then the result, she completes her university education, she earns a bigger income, she can support the whole family. The family say, we're so glad you went to school. So this has to be the storyline of your program for whatever income generating, like let's say you're doing visually impaired. So this has to be the script, just one page. This is all you need to do for your script. Everything concise, because you see, I cannot remember many pages, so everything has to be on one page. So you do this, the context, there must be a challenge, and then a resolution. So for example, children who are visually impaired. So what will be the challenge? They're visually impaired, parents did not send them to school, then you come out, then there's resolution. You come up, because you said you had a program that...
This day, ICT computer, we have computer lab.
ICT computer lab, so even though they're visually impaired, they have ICT program for the child. So that's a resolution. So this is how you need to do, write your own story. This is what you need to think about when you write your storyline. You need to think about why should your stakeholder, your employees, your board, your donors, your employee, why should they care about your project? What is it? Why should they care about what you are proposing? What are the issues? What are the issues that you are going to address? Well, what is your solution? What is the solution is your program? What is the solution that you are bringing? So think about this when you are writing your stories. So, how to tell a good story? I'll just show you. Who have here I've heard of TED Talk? 1, 2, 3, 4, it's quite fair. Maybe half of you, half of the room. How to talk like TED? Yes, how do you talk like TED? That's Bill Gates, So this is a book. This person who wrote this book, Gallo, she studied all the people, hundreds and hundreds of those who appeared on TED to find out why were those who were very successful, they have many hits, why did they have many hits? And this is what she found, that the way of presentation was novel, was different. The speaker could connect to the audience, there's connection, and The other thing, the content was presented that it was easy to remember. Humor into his conversation at TED Talk. He brought humor. So what else must you bring when you give presentation to your stakeholders? So here are just a few tips, but maybe a few points. You can count these points with your fingers. One, passion. Nothing can replace passion. You must be passionate about what you are talking about. It comes true. If you are not passionate, it doesn't come through. So you need to be passionate about what the solution that you are going to be proposing. You need to be passionate. Tell stories. So when you talk about your program, you don't just say, okay, we were founded in, 10 years ago, we have 10 children, and then we are providing them with ICT training, then, don't. You must talk about stories, tell stories about how, there's this lady Jaya who went for the training and what happened to her. So tell stories so that you could connect emotionally and give something new, something unforgettable. It could be that you've done a research. I think like, for example, you talk about mushroom. That was something new for me. When you talk about mushroom, you say, oh, most of the women farmers, they grow straw mushroom. And we found out that the hotel, for example, they prefer button mushroom. So now we're thinking how we could connect that. So instead of selling and growing straw mushroom, perhaps the woman can grow button mushroom. So that was new. I was like, oh, I was listening. Or just now when Brabin talked about youth in Nepal, when he says 25% of our GDP, of Nepal GDP, are from remittance. So it's new for some of you. So bring something new into your discussion, presentation, and make it memorable. Something different, extraordinary, like the statistic, 25% of inward remittance are from, 25% of Nepal GDP are inward remittance. Huge. Another point was the number of youth in Nepal, the age, average age. These are all something new, memorable. So if you have been repeating this, if it's common knowledge, don't make it your main point. So bring something new about maybe visually impaired. There was new research, new finding, so that's one. Add humor. Bill Gates brought the mosquito, so that was funny. Of course you remember when he says, oh, why should only poor people have malaria, right? Or when he talked about balding. Make sure your slides has a lot of pictures, not text, because if you have a lot of text, what you will notice is the audience that you're talking to will be reading all the text. If you have bullet points, they will not listen to you, they will be reading the text. Also, when you're giving presentation, it's better, honestly it's better that you don't give them the handout first. Because if you give them the handout, they will be reading the handout, looking down, at the handout, and not looking at you. When you talk to your donor or your stakeholder, you want to make eye contact. Even though it's on the stage, eye contact. Eye contact. You want to be making eye contact. So you want to make eye contact with everybody that you talk to. If you give handout, I think 100% they will be looking down and not looking at you. You want to make eye contact and heart contact. Okay, for all TED Talk, you will notice it's never more than 18 minutes. Never. 18 minutes max. Of course, if you can do earlier, it's better. You saw the videos, the girl video and the Ethiopia, the lantern light, the solar light. That was only about 4 minutes. The girl effect video was 3 minutes. So make it short. Text, it's never more than 18 minutes. And always have just 3 points. Because we are human, we cannot remember so many points. Don't give them so many points. Just give them 3 main key messages. and be authentic. If you are not genuine, it comes through also. So just be authentic. Last point, practice, practice, practice. Practice in front of the mirror, practice with your friend. All of you have, some of you have smartphone. Take your smartphone, practice, talk to yourself in the camera. You see, when you practice a lot, you will, because you have practiced, you know what to say, you will remove all nervousness. So it's good to practice. Last, you don't have to be Bill Gates to be persuasive. That was such a heartwarming story, right?
Yeah.
You look like, oh, I feel like when I first saw it, I was like crying. I actually cried when I first saw this video. His passion comes through, his enthusiasm. He's just a small boy with this idea. So he talked about the challenge, the problem, and then he came up with this idea. And his passion comes through. You can tell that he's a little bit nervous, but it's okay. So even if you're a little bit nervous, your voice is like, it's okay, because you know if you're passionate, it will come through. So we'll do a little exercise. After this, have some exercise for the table, what you're going to do. But before we do the exercise, I just want to tell you a little bit, one story. This story is a turkey story. I think it's a turkey, right? So this story is about this woman, and her name is Anaya. She lives in India. She has a turkey farm. She has a turkey farm, and what she has also done is Anaya Foundation. Anaya is the name. The foundation is called Swaminathan Foundation in India. She has gone for training at this foundation. They teach her ICT training. So she went for the training, and so we were asking like, okay, she has a turkey farm, she went IC training, what's the link? Why? So, because she wants to upgrade herself, she wants to learn skills, so she did. And one day, one of her turkey fell ill. She doesn't know why, had flu, she doesn't know why, so what did she do? Because she has gone for training, she took a digital photo of the turkey, her turkey that is ill, and then she sent to the foundation to say, hey, you know, my turkey is ill, now I know how to take digital photos, I've taken. So they are already connected to a few universities. They send to their own partners, who then identified from the pictures that the turkey actually had flu. And from that picture, they actually identified the flu and what kind of medicine she need to take, need to give the turkey. So she is in a rural area, far, far away. You know, it's not convenient for her to fly. So they told her, this is what you need to give your turkey, the medicine. This is the remedy. She did it, she took it, she gave her turkey. The turkey got well. The good thing is, she saved the farm. Can you imagine, if one turkey has a flu, if she didn't do anything, she did not know what to do, it might affect the rest of the turkey. And also, it's not possible for her to take the turkey to bring to the clinic. Which clinic? Where's the vet? It's not possible. And, you know, how do you know a turkey has flu, right? So that's what she did. And there was some resolution for her. And this is an actual story of Anaya. What I want to show in this example is, of course, this is an example, you know, just an example. What you need to do is when you talk about your own story, always, again, the 3 building blocks. Context. The context is Anaya. You know, she's gone for this ICT training. She has a turkey farm. Challenge. Oh, turkey is sick. What is resolution? She took a picture, sent, and then they sent medicine. So that's the resolution. So if I was working for Swaminathan Foundation, when I'm talking to my donor, my stakeholder, I will cite one personal story. Why one person? Why am I talking about Anaya and not all the women? You see, when you are talking to your stakeholders, you want to build feelings, you want to have empathy, you want to build connection, you talk about one woman first, or one girl. You give her, talk about her name, how her life has changed. What is the impact on her life, or having attended your training, having been part of your program, your NGO program. So what happened to her? Then after you talk about the one person, then you can say, you know, Anaya is one of the 200 women that have been on our program. But you talk about one first. Because if you talk about 400 women, it's very hard to build the feelings, you know, like feelings. Very hard to build the feeling. You talk about one person, they can think, Amina, oh, Anaya, oh, they can imagine her. When you talk about the turkey, they can imagine her taking picture of the turkey, right? So when I was telling you, you can imagine her taking picture of the turkey. When I say, oh, she can't carry the turkey, you can imagine. But if I say 400 women, it's very hard to imagine 400 women. So talk about one woman or one child or one boy, give that a name. So now it's your turn to tell the story. So in your pack, you will find a worksheet. Can you find in your pack a worksheet? There's one worksheet. I would like to hear your story. It is called, let's see. Oh, communicating result. Okay, this one. Can you find communicating results? Okay, so here, there is an exercise at the end. Okay, second page, there's an activity. So now you think about your own organization. Why should stakeholders care about you? Why? You're working with children from slavery, children visually impaired, or health, or what income generation. Why should shareholders care about you? Then think about the challenge. What are the issues faced by your client? Then think about the resolution. What is the resolution? When you do this, can you write such that you're writing a story? Not data, quantitative data, 5% improve. Think stories, emotion. So can you write the stories? After this, we will share your stories. I will ask some of you to share your stories. How are you going to say in the storyline? So can we have a few minutes for you to share? Say maybe spend about 10 minutes. Is 10 minutes enough or too much? 5 minutes is enough or 10? Huh? 10 or 5? Okay, you want 5 minutes or 10 minutes?
10 minutes.
10 minutes, okay. You choose 10 minutes. Okay, spend the next 10 minutes. Think about your organization, and if you were to write about your organization in a storyline. It's a story, it's a movie or a story about, how do you say it? Okay, to help you, I've got some nice background music too, so that you can feel your heart, stories from your heart about your organization. In a storyline, just like the boy and the lion in Kenya.
Kumari lives in a migrant-rented community in Kathmandu Valley. She represents the global statistic of 1 in 6 people that live in a slum around the world. She works in an environment of informality and instability as a construction worker and has 3 children. As a single mother who needs to work daily to make her ends meet, being able to go to work every day is vital to her family's well-being. One day she injured herself while at work because she was sifting the cement barefoot. She could not drop her youngest child to the early childhood program that our organization runs for migrants, and her older daughter told us of her mother's situation. We went to visit her on a home visit and realized she was working without shoes, so we started a Kutama Jutta campaign for all migrant mothers working in that area in the construction sector. We were able to raise $1,200 to buy waterproof, protective, crop-type shoes for women so that they could work in the riverside or sift cement or have their feet dry quickly and be free of infections, as well as have them protected from immediate injuries. By the time Meen Kumari's ankle healed, we had found her a pair of shoes which enabled her to continue her regular work, to earn an income for her family and continue to invest in her children. Every migrant in our city is an asset, and they too have a right to work with dignity and in safety. And the future of our cities is in harnessing the potential of migrants.
Wow, very good. So we can feel her feeling. You know, she had no shoes, the bare feet, because we know about the one hero. So that's what storytelling is about. So can you turn to the person on your side to tell your story to the other person? So like, for example, can you tell him your story? So all of you turn to your side to tell the stories. If you can tell your stories to him and very nice video, isn't it?
Very good.
Very nice. You know about this one girl and how the solution, actually when you change the life of this one girl, eventually you see at the end of the video it says 50 million, there are 50 million girls, and if we adopt this solution, we change the life of 50 million girls. So that's something that you can do for your organization, something that you can do when you talk to donors, stakeholders, employer. Remember to pull the heartstring. You need to show the data, quantitative data, but you also want to pull the heartstring. So those are some tips to share stories, which we have been doing for thousands of years. Just like the honest X-Men, which our gentleman here had the last time 40 years ago and still remember.